Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics on Radamic Berto Willis, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you as usual. Today we talk about the coronavirus. We talk about the coronavirus. I know, folks. Many people are scared. Many people are concerned. Many people don't know what to do. Many people think they're overreactions. Some people think they're underreactions. I am a bit I'm a bit not as prepared as I should be for today because this morning I spent outside at Costco trying to get supplies in case we are forced to stay home for an extended period of time. You know, preparation is something that we all need to do, and that is what I started doing, getting prepared for what could happen. But folks, this could be serious. It is likely not to blow over. One of the issues that we have with this particular virus is that a lot of young carriers can have it, and what they can do is then infect a lot of older people. So I mean, we have to. This is one of those viruses that we really have to be careful about because, in as much as young people are faring very well, meaning most young people, I think, get over with it just fine. Look, things can go wrong. Bruce Pollard, welcome aboard. Gregory Bartz, welcome aboard. Thank you so kindly for being here. You listen to me at KPFT actually not KPRC, KPFT. But anyhow, folks, I'm happy to have you all here. Folks, the first thing I like to ask people as they listen is I beg thee, I ask thee, I implore thee, please share. The only way we are going to get our messages out there, the only way we are going to be sure Americans are informed with information that they need, not information that the corporations believe that you need so that you will continue to purchase from them irrespective of outcomes. Oh, yeah, that's what we're here for, folks. I promise you something always. I promise you always, friends. Numero uno. I promise you that what you will always get out of me is the truth. Numero dos. I promise you that everything I talk about, it's not going to be about what makes it best for me, but what makes it best not only for you, but society as a whole. That is my goal. That is the goal of Politics Done Right. Anyhow, let's go ahead and get started. Today's program is titled, Coronavirus Exposed: The Failure of Efficient, Unfettered Capitalism. And I don't want folks to run across, I'm not preaching anything crazy or anything like that, because yours truly believe in 100% unfettered free enterprise, meaning that you want to have whatever you want to do. You do it on your own. You can do it. You can do your business. Free enterprise is wonderful. Unfettered capitalism can be fatal. And the coronavirus is just one incident that I'm going to try to walk you through so that when the corporatocracy starts preaching, we are a capitalist society and this is what we do and this is how we do things, you will come back and say, no, we believe in free enterprise. We do not believe in slavery. But anyhow, we're going to go through that in a little bit. But the coronavirus is one thing that is going to help us present that case to how detrimental to our well-being our current economic system really is. That is what we need to do. That is what we need to do. Anyhow, folks, it is essential, or rather, coronavirus, while novel, is a pandemic that could occur over and over, especially with a connected world. The design of our current form of capitalism caves under that structure. It is essential that we illustrate to every middle class and poor American using the coronavirus to show why our economic system is a clear and present danger to our life and personal economies. While it is very unfortunate that too many have and will die unnecessarily from this pandemic, one silver lining that is presents a learning opportunity. This is something Americans see and can see. Progressives must not allow yet another false narrative that those governed by the tenets of the Powell Manifesto are effective in doing. You see, this is going to make the people that are going to start trying to profit off of coronavirus, they are going to start creating yet another myth to try to tell you why the way we want to do things or and is the way to go. I want to say, Bruce said something. Let's see. Bruce says, it looked like Bernie is doing what he can. Let's not point fingers and work together. Mr. Pence needs support, not bad words. I agree with that. Unfortunately, what we have, if you take a listen to the speech that El Senor Trump gave last night, he said, the reason we are shutting down Europe is that Europe let all those people in and they didn't control their borders and they didn't control who they let in and they allowed it to spread. That is the biggest bunch of hogwash. We knew about coronavirus from December and nobody, our country, our leaders, meaning el presidente who runs the executive. Remember, there are three branches of government: the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary. And our executive, who has all the power within the law to effect policy to protect us all, are not doing it. But as we do that, let's see, Bruce also says, should be done later. For now, we need to follow the leaders who have thought. Yes, and that is what I agree with, but I think we have to lay the groundwork in a lot of ways so that again, I just gave the example with what Donald Trump did when he went ahead and threw it out to Europe. He went ahead and threw the ball on Europe. Oh, Europe is not doing anything right, and what is essential for us to know is not for Americans to start gathering that narrative, but for Americans to gather the narrative that, look at Italy. Italy shut down almost the entire north of the country, 60 million. Well, actually, I think they've actually now 60 million people under pseudo quarantine to really nip this stuff. 14 days to let us kind of figure out where sickness is and then solve it, right? No, they're doing a good thing. I mean, luck of the draw. We don't know how many sick people there are in the United States. We don't know how many people died in Timbuktu, Texas, in Timbuktu, Idaho, in Timbuktu, and all these places from pneumonia that is really coronavirus. We don't know that because we as a society decided we're not testing. And since young people fare well, even if young people get sick and then get better, it looks like we don't have a pandemic at hand. So what we do is we go ahead and say Europe is showing all this stuff real badly because they did something wrong and we did it all right. Well, you know what? We didn't. And we are starting to have the powers take over. We're having the medical and the science people take over, which is important. But before we get started, I want to show something. I want to show something from Katie. Oh, wow. Katie Porter on the Oversight Committee. You know something? I have great listeners because that is the video I am going to show you. When you have effective leaders, that communicate well and care about your social well-being, care about the social well-being of their country, it is so important. It forces in clear view what must be done. So let's check out Katie Porter in action. Because, by the way, who brought that up? The Squad Plus One. Here it is for you, my brother.
Dr. Cadlick, for someone without insurance, do you know the out-of-pocket cost of a complete blood count test?
No, ma'am, not immediately.
Do you have a ballpark?
With a copay, ma'am?
No, the out-of-pocket, just the typical cost.
I do not, ma'am.
Okay, a CBC typically costs about $36. What about the out-of-pocket cost for a complete metabolic panel?
Ma'am, I'd have to pass on that as well.
You have any idea? You want to take a ballpark?
I would say $75.
Okay, 58.
Getting closer.
How about flu A? The flu A test.
Okay, ma'am, again, I
No.
would take a guess at about maybe 50.
43. Flu, this is like the Price is Right. Flu B,
Too high again. I would probably say 44.
that's good. How about the cost of an ER visit for someone identified as high severity and threat?
I'm sorry, ma'am, what was the question again?
How about the cost of an ER visit for somebody identified as having high severity or high threat?
High severity, but ma'am, that's probably about $3,000 to $5,000.
Okay, that is $1,151. This all totals up to $1,331. That's assuming they aren't kept in isolation. Isolation can add up for one family already, $4,000. And fear of these costs are going to keep people from being tested, from getting the care they need, and from keeping their communities safe. We live in a world where 40% of Americans cannot even afford a $400 unexpected expense. We live in a world where 33% of Americans put off medical treatment last year. And we have a $1,331 expense, conservatively, just for testing for the coronavirus. Dr. Redfield, do you want to know who has the coronavirus and who doesn't?
Yes.
Not just rich people, but everybody who might have the virus?
All of America.
Dr. Redfield, are you familiar with 42 CFR 71.30, excuse me? 42 CFR 71.30. The Code of Federal Regulations that applies to the CDC. 42 CFR 71.30.
I think if you could frame what it talks about, that would help me. I
Okay.
don't relate.
Dr. Redfield, I'm pretty well known as a questioner on the Hill for not tipping my hand. I literally communicated to your office last night and received confirmation that I was going to be asking you about 42 CFR 71.30. This provides the director may authorize payment for the care and treatment of individuals subject to medical exam, quarantine, isolation, and conditional release.
That I know about, and my office did tell me that. I just didn't know the numbers, ma'am. That's Congresswoman.
Great, so you're familiar. Dr. Redfield, will you commit to the CDC right now using that existing authority to pay for diagnostic testing free to every American regardless of insurance?
Well, I can say that we're going to do everything to make sure everybody can get the
not
care
good
they
enough.
need.
Reclaiming my time. Dr. Redfield, you have the existing authority. Will you commit right now to using the authority that you have vested in you under law that provides in a public health emergency for testing, treatment, exam, isolation without cost? Yes or no?
What I'm going to say is I'm going to review it in detail with
No,
CDC
I'm
and the
reclaiming
department.
my time. Dr. Redfield, respectfully, I wrote you this letter along with my colleagues, Rosa DeLaura and Lauren Underwood, Congressman Underwood and Congressman DeLaura. We wrote you this letter 1 week ago. We quoted that existing authority to you, and we laid out this problem. We asked for a response yesterday. The deadline and the time for delay has passed. Will you commit to invoking your existing authority under 42 CFR 71.30 to provide for coronavirus testing for every American regardless of insurance coverage?
What I was trying to say is that CDC is working with HHS now to see how we operationalize that.
Dr. Redfield, I hope that answer weighs heavily on you, because it is going to weigh very heavily on me and on every American family.
Our intent is to make sure every American gets the care and treatment they need at this time of this major epidemic, and I'm currently working with HHS to see how to best operationalize it.
Dr. Redfield, you don't need to do any work to operationalize. You need to make a commitment to the American people so they come in to get tested. You can operationalize the payment structure tomorrow.
I think you're an excellent questioner, so my answer is yes.
Excellent. Everybody in America hear that. You are eligible to go get tested for coronavirus and have that covered regardless of insurance. Please, if you believe you have the illness, follow precautions. Call first. Do everything the CDC and Dr. Fauci, God bless you, for guiding Americans in this time. But do not let a lack of insurance worse than this crisis.
And I would just like to echo what you said. It's a public health, a very important public health, that those individuals that are in the shadows can get the health care that they need during the time of us responding to this outbreak.
Okay, I want to tell you first of all why that was important. That is what a legislator is supposed to do. That is what an advocate is supposed to do. Now, that he is from the executive, the CDC. Now think about it. He has the authority to go ahead and ensure that every American is tested. This is national security, national health. All of that is a statement of fact. He has the authority. Why would he not want to use the authority? Because he has a president that may want to have friends profit from having to charge for this product. And of course, if the taxpayers are going to pay for it, they cannot swindle you as much as if they can take you for what you're worth. So what she wanted, a legislator advocating for you, is to say, I want to ensure and tell you that every American knows if they feel they are a danger, they are getting sick to society, that they can come and get a test. Your government, your institutions will take care to make sure this country is taken care of, is safe. Katie Porter, I love that woman. That is a progressive legislator that won in Orange County in a red district without compromising her particular values. Don't know where she stands on Medicare for all, but in this case, I don't care. You know why? Because she did her job. We don't have to be absolutists. She did her job. As I wrote the program today, came back from Costco and I came here and said, I got to start thinking about what am I going to, I knew what the subject was going to be. I knew what I was going to talk about. But when I just brought up Common Dreams and saw that tweet, it was like, baby, that is it. And if you guys are watching Katie Porter or anybody else, you guys go ahead and make sure the rest of America sees Katie Porter in action as a legislator. You make sure also that people contribute to her campaign to make sure she can always be that legislator standing up for you. I've seen her do that so many times. Both her and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, and all of them. What I love is they are fearless. They're not like those guys. Those guys go out there and they acquiesce to the corporatocracy. They acquiesce to knowing, okay, if I rub your back, you may give me a job as a lobbyist. You may give me a job as something. These women are exceptional. Let's call their names again. Katie Porter, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, and Ayanna Pressley. Those are our young, national, progressive, American heroes. Let's not forget that. That is our future. I think she's 45 or so, somewhere around there is Katie Porter. But man, I want Katie Porter on my side. Man, I love that woman. Okay, title of the show, as I said earlier on, is Coronavirus Exposes the Failure of Efficient, Unfettered Capitalism. This is not an attack on privacy. This is not an attack on saying, hey guys, you want to have your own company? Go out there and have it. You want to invent something? Go out there and invent it. What this is to say is that our current economy prevents you, first of all, from being able to do that unless the master tells you you can. I want to tell you that this current economy puts you in danger from doing all of that. Let's get started on how this stuff works. Let's use the coronavirus as an example. The coronavirus has been out there for a very, very long time. Okay, it came to the United States. And as it came to the United States, the executive ignored it. They wanted it to just go away. Why did they want it to just go away? Because they understood. They understood that in a very efficient, unfettered capitalist society, the first bit of disruption, thank you very much, Patricia De Galani, she's 46. The first disruption in the chain. The cards come tumbling down. Let's go ahead and start in North Carolina and all these places, many of them that love to vote for against their own interests. When we lost the factories because we could ship our production at a much lighter cost to China, to Vietnam, to the Philippines. We could ship our productivity, we could ship all our manufacturing to these places, right? That is what we did. The capitalist tenet is the maximization of profits for the shareholders. So therefore, the worker, the person who is bringing in that value is too heavy, too expensive. So we constantly try to find cheaper, more efficiency. So we manufacture in China. What happens when you have centralization of manufacture? What happens is something that's happening, and the coronavirus exposed it. A lot of our medicines now are made in China. A lot of our products are made in China. A lot of our parts are made in China. So therefore, China gets a pandemic that could easily have been localized. A localized pandemic that expanded. 786 on the phone, I'll be coming to you next. Okay? So what happens now? Remember, we are an efficient capitalist society. Efficient. Efficient because we just have, instead of having production all over the world and where we can bring all these things together in different places, and instead of manufacturing cars here, there, and manufacturing medicine all over the place, we centralize all these different manufacturing stations, right? Efficiency, maximization of profit for the shareholders. And we do it for cheap. But Corona did something bad. Corona hit a place where manufacturing occurs. Corona started to spread through the system, and it shuts down the supply chain. You know, another concept of very efficient capitalism is just-in-time inventory, right? Just-in-time, JIT. So what we do is as we need something, we manufacture. We don't keep. In the old days, business people would go ahead and they'll have their inventory in stores, in warehouses all over. You know, it's like your water system in your city, right? If you go around your city, you see a lot of these big water tanks, right? And they're up in the air, and they do two things. They keep pressure in different lines in your system, so you don't have to have a high pressure line coming in. You have supply. It's in an electrical system, it would be a inductor capacitor transmission system, right? But in a water system, you get all your water stores to keep the pipes filled at all places, but also to keep a reserve. What that reserve says is, if you remember, if those of you who live in Houston, Texas, we had a huge disruption. We had a pipe that is 8 feet wide, which supplied half of Houston. That pipe busted. And in as much as a lot of people didn't have a lot of water pressure for a while, they were able to cut some lines, close some lines, and because they had all that water storage in these tanks around the country, around the city, in these tall pipes that gave pressure, the system could still run for some time, even as they fixed that pipe. You know, that is what you call, you know, keeping into account. That is how a good business operates, right? But no, remember, there's the financial sector and the intelligence sector. The intelligence sector being the doctors, the engineers, the scientists, all these guys who know things. They don't really execute the big part of the financial sector. So the capitalist portion of the system is a whole bunch of people who know nothing about hardly anything. So they go ahead and they say, hey, guess what? If we don't have all that inventory, we can make more money. If we don't pay all those people what they're really worth, hey, we can make more money. And that's all they think about. That's all they think about. They care nothing. That's capitalism. They care nothing about humanity. They care nothing about what works. They care nothing about you. It's just about, how do I make more money? So every question that they ask first, if we do this, what impact does it have on me as a person making money. No humanity, no civility, no morality. That's the financial sector. That's what it has become. You remember you had the home banker, the banker who works in the community. He was there to make a little profit from managing your loans and making sure there's liquidity in the market. That used to be how it is. But as we got investment bankers and all that kind of stuff, what then happened is they created a system that was backed up by such a thin layer of security that a coronavirus pandemic can bring it all down. And if you doubt it, the stock market has lost, what, 10,000 points? And guess what? It first of all shows that the stock market is nothing more than a gambling engine, first of all, because it's based on nothing. It is based on whatever people think they can get for whatever. The stock market and that's what I tell you, capitalism is really a failure, right? The stock market is an imaginary thing. A lot of people make a lot of money for knowing nothing, just knowing how to invest and move things around. And when we understand that, we start to see why we are worthy, why we should never allow folks to say we are not going to tax wealth, that somehow Bill Gates and all these wealthy people earned that. They did not, you did. But I tell you what, I'm going to further go into this after I take this 786 call. 786, you are on. Come on in. 786.
Hello. Hello. Egberto, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
This is Ron Cole. How are you, buddy?
Ron, talk to me, my brother. Talk to me.
I like I like what you're saying here. I think you're touching on something that I was reading about recently, where there's a lot of biological scientists that were publishing studies where these viruses, they indicate that these types of viruses are going to become commonplace.
Yes.
And their reasoning was because humans have so distorted and so hurt the ecosystems that every life form on Earth is now becoming ill, and those illnesses are translating to us. And they see this as something that'll just continue on a rapid pace.
You know, I mean, Ron, and first of all, you're absolutely right. But there's another reason why they're going to occur more. There's so much. First of all, we have two reasons why more of us are coming into contact with others, right? The sheer one of it is commerce, and that commerce is that we're manufacturing. We're manufacturing all over the place, and centralizing our manufacturing in areas. And so, you know, the natural progression of moving back and forth means that things that somebody in Timbuktu may have had resistance to, it gets into a population that doesn't have resistance to, and then it spreads out of there. And then the natural thing that we have better communications, meaning better cars, better airplanes. We can get to places faster. As certain economies are more wealthy, I mean, you get wealthy people that can go to a safari in Africa that has a particular sort of diseases that those people can adapt to, but those that can't. And then they, whether rich or not, they come back into society. And you know, one of the things that I always find when you hear conservatives say, do they have their papers when they want to know if we're going to give health care to foreigners, right? One of the things that they fail to realize is that, well, you know, when these people come over and breathe your ear or breathe on you or whatever, he doesn't know if you're a Democrat, Republican, foreigner, or domestic or anything like that. So every locale should have its own healthcare system that takes care of humanity in that particular jurisdiction. I mean, I gave a talk a show a few days ago where I pointed out a young lady in Las Vegas who, because her insurance didn't cover certain kinds of tests, she lived 10 years in excruciating pain. She couldn't diagnose what she had because she could only get basic diagnosis. When they crowdsourced it. An Italian doctor said, "Oh, I kind of recognize what that is." They brought her to Italy. She didn't know if she could go to Italy because she's poor. She didn't have insurance for Italian. And they said, "Oh, no, in Italy, you don't have to worry about that. You come here, we'll do the test." And in less than 2 months, she had the results of her test. In less than 2 months after she stayed 10 years on pain, she's now doing just fine. I mean, humanity matters. Healthcare matters, you know? I totally get what you're saying, and I think that exacerbates everything. But my point was
that the virus itself came from a species of animal
Yes.
that is almost extinct as it is, and the members of that species are very, very weak, and they contract more illnesses because they're weak. That was the scientist's point, because every ecosystem is so weak now, viruses are going to evolve on a rate that we have never seen. That was their contention. And many
And
of
that
those will
makes
cross
sense,
over to
right?
humans.
That makes
It does
sense.
to me. It does. So the more we stress, for our economic desires, the more we stress nature and other ecosystems, their contention is that this will just become commonplace and it will be disastrous. I tend to think that they're right.
There's no doubt about it. And what we are also saying, though, Ron, and I think you would agree with that, is our economic system does not lend itself to these eventualities. And because,
No.
let's give an example. Bernie came out, and first of all, Biden looked very good today when he came out and talked about handling the pandemic. Then again, everybody would look great next to what Donald Trump did yesterday. But Biden looked very good, and Bernie Sanders looked very good. Both of them came and gave a coronavirus speech, and I was happy with both of them. Biden came out and said,
Yeah.
yes, we need to give free testing and all of that. And he came out and said, we need to take care of people and find a way to help those that are going to be out of a job. Of course, what Bernie said was pretty much the same thing. But what Bernie added,
Right.
which is what I think was missing, was that we have to create an economy that take those things into consideration so that we don't have to pass new laws because a pandemic has occurred. Our system should take into account that pandemics do occur, and that if we have a good social safety net, it would be minimized because people would automatically say, well, this is happening, I need to get care. I wouldn't be scared to go to the doctor. I wouldn't be scared of having to stay home because what I have is, what is it called, a sick leave. Of course, a lot of
Right.
these things can be abused, but we can put in actions, we can put in safeguards to minimize the abuse by those people who would do so. But what I found with most people is most people simply are not abusive. Most people want to do the right thing. Your thoughts?
Yeah, of course. But, like I said, the article struck me as profound because I was looking at this and I was like, well, you obviously have a great point that our economic system lends itself to pandemics spreading.
Yes.
That's clear. But our economic, and that is in the spread of it. However, it appears that our economic system also greatly contributes to the evolution and the spreading of this thing from other species. And if that's the case, this really will get much worse in the future because pandemics will. If that is really the case, I could see pandemics becoming normal. And it's because our economic system is stressing everything to the point where it's not healthy anymore. It just isn't healthy.
Well, I went to Canvas in Nevada, and there's this doctor who came out and just said just about that. This was a particular doctor. In this case, it was a black doctor, and she was trying to equate why is it that black women have a negative outcome health-wise more so than any other identity. And what it broke
Sure.
down to was all the different instantiation of different stresses they must endure compared to everybody else. And when
That's right.
when she itemized it, and I think that is what our economic system is doing to a whole lot of people, right? I when during fund drive at KPFT, right, Ron? I go out early.
Yeah.
I work from a studio that's inside of the house. Okay, it's a complete studio.
Right.
But I do a show at KPFT 90.1 FM Houston, and I get up early to go pitch with Amy Goodman from Democracy Now! So
Yeah.
I would get up at 4 something in the morning and head out to the studio in Montrose, about 40 miles from here. And at that time of the day, you get very thoughtful. and I see these thousands and thousands of cars on the road, and I see everybody trying to get to work, and I'm talking thousands of and Houston is huge. Houston has freeways that are three,
Yeah.
4, 5 lanes in either direction, and they are all filled
Sure,
up.
I've lived in Houston.
So you know, Ron. So what happens then, Ron, is
Yeah.
I am thinking, you watch TV and you hear a lot of these capitalists talk about people. I say people are taking advantage of the system, or that people don't want to work, or that. And what I see from Americans are a very hard working people. These people don't. I mean, they're on the roads. And later on at 7 and 8 in the mornings, the big guy comes with his helicopter and lands somewhere, or the wealthy guy has a ride in, or so let's be real. You're absolutely right. We have a stressful system for a people that start early in the morning and end late in the afternoon. And so it is time that we start mitigating all those factors within our economy and do something about it.
Well, it's just negative messaging. It has no foundation in reality. I ran, I was chief operations officer of South Florida's only 5-star veterans organization for 2 years. And we concentrated mostly on homeless vets. Now, these vets had very bad situations, especially coming out of the last recession. Every one of them was homeless. Every one of them wanted to work. They wanted an opportunity. They wanted to work. They would take minimum wage just to get a few dollars in their pocket, so they had some sense of they're important, that they belong, that they're needed.
Right.
And I heard people say, well, they give an excuse for a vet. Well, they're veterans. Yeah, they want it, but they don't realize if the person isn't a veteran, if he's just an average person on the street, and like you say, if he's a black person on the street, they go through things most of society doesn't even realize because prejudice and racism is institutionalized. They face stresses that are outrageous. And the messaging that these people don't want to work is beyond absurd. These people want an opportunity. They will work harder than anybody you can hire. It's a stupid message, but it works. That's why they use it.
But you know what is so sad about it? It also works with those same people that I see driving into work every day at 4 in the mornings or 5 in the mornings, because the way the narrative that they give is that you are working so hard. You're getting up to work at 5 in the morning, and that guy is just sitting down on the streets. And for that person that has to get up at 5 in the morning, there's something there that resonates. We have to make the message clearer. And I think that is what we're doing. And in you telling that story that you just told about the veterans, you've just done that. Ron, anything else you'd like to add, sir?
No, I just thought I'd throw that in to try to demonstrate that it's not only the secondary part of the economic structure, but it actually is our overriding way that we do not really work with nature. We work against it, and we're stressing other biological systems that are actually leading to us getting infected. I think that it's an entire circle, and I think that needs to be addressed as well. I think it needs to be mentioned.
Excellent. Ron Cole, thank you so kindly. Hope you get online and start doing some more of the things that you used to do, buddy.
When I can, I will. I'll be in touch. Great show. I love listening to you. Best of luck, buddy.
Thank you, sir. You have a wonderful day now. Okay.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Folks, getting back to the subject, but before I get on to the subject, it's already at 3:40. So let me go ahead and I got to do my pitch. I got to ask you guys to say, hey, my dear brothers and my dear sisters, come on in and support Politics Done Right. If you want to support Politics Done Right, you can start by going to our store.politicsdoneright.com. Get a t-shirt, get a cup, get a book. This book, everything that we spoke about with Ron Cole. I talk a whole lot about that. And as I see it, class warfare, the only resort to right-wing doom. I'm still trying to finish up my other book, but man, there's so much happening right now that it is currently, actually, I have another chapter almost done. But again, with all these things that are happening, you know how that goes. But folks, please, what I would love for you to do is to go ahead and subscribe. You can subscribe to Politics Done Right at patreon.com/politics done right. That is patreon.com/politics done right. You can support our equipment upgrade. Our equipment upgrade is at gofundme.com/independent-media-upgrade. Again, that is gofundme.com independent-media-upgrade. And of course, you can always contribute to our show by going to paypal.me/politics done right. That is paypal.me/politics done right. You can check out the t-shirts. We have a whole lot of them. The ones that goes out the most is always, of course, I support independent media, because that is how we are going to change America. That is how we are going to make this a better place. Because if you are vested in a media that is truthful to you, if you are vested in a media who only owes you, right? Because no drug company or anybody, tell us what to do. We don't have any allegiance to any of these guys. We just have an allegiance to you. So what I want to ask you is, please, again, be a part of our network. And by the way, folks, hey, take care of the Squad Plus One. You say you got to go. I enjoyed having you here. I enjoyed having all the words that you say. By the way, guys, if you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, go ahead and give us a super chat. Click that $sign and give us a super chat. Show us that you appreciate this independency of the media. Anyhow, enough of all of that. Just go ahead and support, please support. Anyhow, folks, telephone number is 646-716-5812. Again, that number is 646-716-5812. Love to hear from more of you. If you want to talk, let me go ahead and start going through the list of, oh, wow, I got a lot of messages. Let's see. First of all, let me tell you hi. Hello, Bruce Pollard, Gregory Bartz, Rose Williams, Mike Cizak. Let's see who else is here. Masticator. How you doing, Masticator? The guy that gives me a hard time all the time. He thinks I'm playing politics with the coronavirus. I'm not playing politics with coronavirus, but I am trying to point out, now that it is upon us, why it is that we are having certain issues with it and how our economic system plays a part in that. The Squad Plus One, of course, is here. Gregory Bartz, of course, is here. Ruth Meyer is here. Lee Grant, how you doing, Lee? Let's see who else. Rose, I think I called you out, Rose Williams. Patricia De Galani, my good friend. And let's see who else is here. I'm going down the whole thing, including YouTube and Kathleen Morin Morgan. Hi, my friend. Let's see, coming down, and I'm almost there. Okay, let's start going to the messages proper. Mike Cizek says, red tape times... He gave me a how government red tape stymied testing and made the coronavirus epidemic worse. I love that. He's right. I haven't read the article, but that is true. There's a German company that has a whole lot of test equipment ready to go. And it's already, I think, ready to come to the United States or in the United States. I don't quite remember. But Mr. Cizek is absolutely right. The red tape is stopping it. But how is the red tape stopping it? Who is in control of that red tape that is stopping it? Mike Cizek, you'll probably realize that other people want to make money on those products. And that's the reason, the real reason, why the government red tape is preventing them from coming in. Bruce Pollard said, it looks like Bernie is doing what he can. Yes, he is, Bruce. Yes, he is. Mike Cizek says, how government red tape tested and made the coronavirus epidemic works. CDC bureaucrats stopped private and academic diagnosis tests from being deployed. I think you don't have that quite right, my friend, but that's okay. Bruce says testing is important. It sure is. Rose Williams, according to the World Health Organization, the current outbreak has been 3.7% lethal worldwide. That is terrible. I heard it's 1%, which is 10 times that of the flu. in America. Now, that 3.7% would make it 37 times more deadly than the flu. Masticator says, dude, you are making it politics. Yes, I am to some extent, but you know why. Mike says, like, Italy has a single-payer government-run healthcare system and is overwhelmed. You know what? But think about it, brother. If they hadn't had that, remember, Italy is a city where people come from all over. I mean, they have people all over coming into that city. That city was ripe for an explosion of a pandemic. But guess what? It's great. They could handle it. Nobody worried about tests. They're testing and and it's working. They got a hell of an attack and they're weathering the storm. Bruce said should be done later. I guess you're talking about pointing fingers. It took Trump going outside the government bureaucrats to get private industry to ramp. What is it going to take, Mike, to understand that this guy just doesn't have what it takes? I know you have to try to support a position, but I tell you what, when Biden says something or Bernie says something that is off the charts, I would be the first to come out against it, just like I come out against Donald Trump. We have to learn to be more measured and be more practical. Let's see. The squad says Katie Porter on the oversight committee had Redfield to commit. Yeah, she forced him to say, yes, I'm going to give those tests for free. And the squad, Gregory Bart says, people need to understand that the main reason for strong precautions are to ensure the healthcare system is not overwhelmed. That is true. The healthcare system in any country, doesn't matter what country, is not designed for half the population to need it. That would be prohibitive. Because most beds, everything would go to waste for 99% of the times. But there are ways to control pandemics, both with people staying in their own homes, people self-caring, all that kind of stuff. You're absolutely correct, Gregory Bartz. Bruce Pollard says it will rival EpiPens. Let's see if it is as cost limited. Well, actually, the cost is supposed to be zero now, Bruce. Let's see. She pushed him till he broke. Yes, she did. I thought that was wonderful. All right, let's see. Lee Grant says, I remember not long ago you extolling the Italian healthcare system. You spoke of a person who got great healthcare and received a brilliant diagnosis which led a cure. You suggested it only we had Medicare for all, we would receive this level of care. Italy today is locked down by COVID-19. Suggests to me Medicare for all might not work the way you think. No. Actually, it is working exactly as it is expected. This is a pandemic. And Italy gets hit hard because by the nature of Italy, there's the Vatican there, and there's so much there. You bring in foreign people from all over, and that is going to spread like fire spreads in kerosene. What has happened is nobody in Italy has to be concerned about getting health care. They know they're covered. Are they overwhelmed right now? Yes, they are. Would we be overwhelmed if we had that kind of an explosion right away? Yes, we would. In fact, that is what Fauci is saying right now. We have to try to mitigate that now. So no, Lee Grant, I stand by my words. Italy is working fine. It's stressed to the limit because no healthcare system was designed to keep that percentage of the population sick. Okay, Ruth Meyer, I have no insurance, no money to pay for the test. Now, Ruth, the test by decree. CDC, Katie Porter made sure that you will get that test for free, Ruth. Make sure nobody tries to get that away from you. Okay, Rose says, turned out what was spreading undetected in northern Italy for some time. That is true. Well before February, when they realized they had the first case. When they suspect it started, it was the same time that the seasonal flu was breaking out. They were surprised at the high number of pneumonia in concert with what they thought was flu. Exactly. And you know what? They reacted appropriately. They didn't take too long to get a quarantine, all that good stuff. Bruce says, I'm not sure why any kind of healthcare service would affect the spread. There are so many possibilities that only history and learning will tell. Bravo, Katie Porter from Squad. Rose Williams says the reason it was spreading undetected seems to be that China was not honest about the outbreak. There's evidence that it was active there since October, and its nascence was not associated with the Wuhan market as they claim. So everyone was blindsided. OC's no longer red. Orange County, that is. Lee Grant is no longer red because you have people who started voting their interests, Lee Grant. That is the reason it's no longer red. It's not like there was this super, super large influx of people that simply turned it blue. Orange County, the people just started to, as you get, I don't mean this to sound condescending, but as people get enlightened, they get more progressive, because progressive means looking forward. It means trying new things. That's what progressive mean. Conservative, there's nothing bad with conservatives. There's nothing bad like your old man saying, I just like the way things are. I mean, it's not wrong. It's just not progressive, That's all. Rose says at least they are taking care of their citizens, and that's the point. Patricia De Galani says, we're not a third world country. No one should be denied vaccine or healthcare. Outrageous. Perfecto, that statement, my dear. Let's see. Bruce Pollard says it might be that other people knew, and many others. We could make up some good conspiracy theory. I try not to do that. I try my best not to do that. Sometimes, though, the conspiracy theory is staring you in the eye, right? Mike Cizek says, how government red tape stymied testing. Oh, we did that already. Let's see. Vox. Lee William, the physician who had to try to warn his colleagues about the severity of the outbreak back in December, was silenced by the police and forced to sign a statement. And I think he died. Yeah, oh, there you go. You said it. He died. He actually died. Okay, Rose, let's see. No one is trying a conspiracy. I don't think so. Lee says you will get a lot of that with a strong central government. I think you may be talking about red tape. You get red tape all over. Democratic, strong government, okay, authoritarian, horrible. Let's see, Squad. Let's see what else here can I. Oh, man, you guys are filling me up. The Squad, virus created. I'm going to have to run over some of these because we're kind of running out of time. Trump, the Squad is reporting something that everybody needs to know. When Obama was faced with the Ebola virus, they created a section within the CDC or within one of the health organizations to handle pandemics. They were always prepared for pandemics. And of course, what did Trump do? As the Squad Plus One says, Trump disbanded our infectious diseases units and sent scientists to Kansas. Oh boy, the things that he does, and his people simply don't know that he's killing his own people. Lee Grant says the evolution of future pathogens or future anything will proceed with or without human intervention. Yeah, but one happens sort of symbiotically. The other one happens when it happens not by force. In engineering, we have a term called you want to reduce your gradients, right? You don't want large gradients. When you have large gradients, bad things happen, right? There's a large gradient when you use a hammer and a chisel. There's a large gradient there when you're cracking the rock. There's a small gradient where you do things gradually. We need large gradients to shock a healthcare system into reality. We need small gradients for other things. Okay, let's continue. Go Egberto. Have a great day. I gotta go, Egberto. Okay, well, you have a good one, sir. Mike Cisak, Rose, I agree, but the problem is Democrats and media put in all false. I don't think give me the false information that we put out. I don't think you can find one. Susan Lewis Bloomer, welcome aboard. The person putting out false information has been Trump. Thank you for making that correction, Susan. K. Wilmon, replying to Mike Cisak. Mike Cisak, just what false information? I think that's the same question I asked, and the same question Rose is asking. We are at the end, close to the end of the show, 3:55. I want to ask you again, folks, support our show. Go to store.politicsdoneright.com. Help us go get a T-shirt or one of those things, like that T-shirt. I support Politics Done Right, or the one that says, we have Donald Trump in chains. Donald Trump belongs with that ball on his feet. Because you know what? Where he's going, Donald Trump is likely going to jail if he doesn't get reelected. And of course, we had to have our little Bernie Sanders one that says things doesn't change until they change, something to that sort we have in there. And you can also get, as I see it, Class Warfare, the only resort to right-wing doom. You can also get my book at Amazon, but if you want to take out the middleman, just go to store.politicsdoneright.com and support our show. And don't forget, I need subscribers so that we can continue doing this effectively. How do you subscribe? You subscribe by going to this address here, which is, I just plugged it in, patreon.com/politicsdoneright. Patreon, patreon.com/politicsdoneright. And of course, friends, you can always contribute at paypal.me/politicsdoneright. And if you're on YouTube, super chat me. Super chat me and say, yes, we love what we're seeing. Folks, I want to thank you so kindly. I respect all of you who give me a bit of your time to listen, knowing that my only goal is to promote what is right, to promote the truth. I respect you. I have the best listeners. I beg thee to share these programs, because the only way we are going to change enough minds, revolutions, and when I say revolutions, I'm talking peaceful revolutions, changes. When you can engage I think the rule of thumb is 3% of the population. If you can get 3% of the population to want that particular change, to want to be informed, that is where the metastases occur, and that is where change can occur. I'll weather that we have probably a good 2-point-something% people that are really strongly involved in wanting to make this change. So help us get that other 1-point-something% so that we can really have transformational change in this country. I set out to do this not out of just altruism. Yes, a lot of it is altruistic, but I set out to do this because, like I asked myself when I looked up at, I tell that story all the time in the dark. You say, I wish somebody would do X, Y, Z. And then you sit back and you say, well, hell, you are somebody. Why the hell don't you do it? Can you do it? Can you use your skills? I was a software developer, programmer, mechanical engineer, business owner. Could I change all those resources? Could I put all those resources into something else that makes a difference? To which I said, hell yeah, I can do my own videos. I can do my own graphics. I can do all of that. I mean, of course, it takes forever, a lot of time, 16-hour work days. But yeah, I can do it. We can do it. So help us all do it. Please become subscribers. Please go ahead to our store and support us. Please go to our PayPal and support us, because that is how change is made. And while it's not immediate, we have to be constant. We have to be persistent. What the other side generally has is time and money. We have a lot of time, we have a lot of devotion, and we have the morality on our side. We have the truth on our side. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you know how I end this baby. I am what? Out!